Hey everybody, Indy here, still trying to catch up on my microphone mishap of RPG a Day 2017. I'm going to cover day 17 now, which is which RPG do you own the longest that you haven't played? Last year I purchased Earth Dawn and the Riddle of Steel. I haven't played those yet, so they've been on my shelf about a year, a little more now, maybe a year and a half. I've purged a lot. I think the book that I own the longest, the RPG which I own the longest, which I never played, was the Bubblegum Crisis Fudge, I believe, book. Now, I don't own that anymore. I purchased it quite some time ago when I just said, hey, one of my many moves, and I said, I'm not playing this, and I don't see myself actually ever playing it. I'm not really into anime anymore, so let's just get rid of it. I've also grown in understanding myself recently to realize how much of a hoarder I can be. I will never show up on the TV show, but I keep way too many things. So those were all kind of potential answers. I don't really consider Bubblegum Crisis to be a potential answer because I don't own it anymore and have no intention of ever playing it, nor do I wish I would or anything. Interestingly enough, the one that I picked when I recorded this first time and was sitting in front of my shelf, not at work, was Rifts, which, if you've watched my 2016 RPG a Day videos, might surprise you because I say that my first real campaign that I got into was a Rifts campaign. That's true. College freshman year, some year that starts with a 1, not a 2. Rifts was my first campaign. I got in on the second day of just a bunch of open sandbox play. They'd played one night before, gotten drunk, like real life drunk, and made some mistakes in play that got themselves in trouble in the setting, but whatever. So you might remember that Rifts is actually what I played first. True, but I wasn't the GM and I didn't buy the book. I didn't buy the book until much later. And I had never run it or played as a player using my books for quite some time. And at some point later, I had developed my understanding that I really don't like hit point systems that you just churn through. The whole, whether you've got 1 hit point or you're at full hit points, you're the same combat effectiveness. I really didn't like that. Rifts has a little thing in there, the plating system with some stun attacks or stuff like that. If you get certain die results, if you get a high enough level, when you've studied a particular kind of hand-to-hand, which basically means if you're shooting a gun or firing a spell, all you'll ever do is just simply wear down hit points, which do nothing to affect play. So I've definitely gotten to a point where I just, arrogantly or not, I kind of consider that an inferior system. That's just an inferior way of doing it. Unless your hit points pools are so low that this doesn't take very long. So once I hit that point, I really wasn't interested per se in getting it out. But I still love the books. I purged a few of them, but not many of them. I still have like Africa and Europe and Atlantis and the conversion book and the first couple source books in Wormwood. I think I've shown some of the cover and the art stuff earlier. But recently, just with understanding intentions a bit more and understanding maybe becoming a little bit of a looser GM, and I've started to get the itch to maybe play Rifts and run some of that. Not before Earth Dawn or Riddle of Steel. It's not gonna come in front of that. But when I find the right set of players, I think I'd like to get in some Rifts. But unfortunately, Rifts just attracts so many munchkins. You have to be really careful. You have to know your group before you start trying to play Rifts. But anyways, that's basically my answer. I bought Rifts the first time I bought Rifts. See, I've been married that long. So, I mean, I must have bought Risk over a decade ago, and I haven't played it in probably 15 to 20 years. So, that's probably the book that's been on my shelf the longest that I haven't actually used. I'd ask you what yours is, but since this is way behind, 6 days behind, you probably already answered that question. So, yeah, hashtag RPG a day. I hope you're keeping up with my videos. Like them and subscribe, especially since this will probably go beyond August 31st for me. So I'd like to keep getting your input on some of my answers, and I'll talk to you guys later.